Hey guys, and welcome back to the Hall's Poetry Podcast. My name is Angus Hall, and today we have a very interesting topic to talk about. This special topic is the work of Australia's finest poet, Kenneth Slessor. Slessor was considered one of the best in Australia, as he got a prize for poetry named after him. In this podcast, we will hopefully have an in-depth analysis in two of his poems, these being William Street and Gulliver. Included with this, I will be sharing a painting that I've hand-picked that relates to Slessor's poems. In all of Slessor's written poems, he brings out what's inside all of us. The portrayal of human experiences allows us, his audience, to see past everyday stereotypes about these key ideas and feel what the individual or group feels. He challenges our idea of the struggles in everyday life with both of these poems. William Street talks about the true nature of life in that suburb, sharing his non-judgmental view of the people. In Gulliver, he expresses the feelings of being trapped inside your own body, caused by the emotions we all experience through our lives. Slessor also acknowledges the struggle through his various language, techniques, and structure of the poem. Have you ever been afraid to express your opinions on something because it differs to everyone else? When your views goes against stereotypes? Well, no need to look any further, as Slessor involves his experience of William Street. Slessor paradoxically uses the ode form, memorializing and celebrating the notorious inner city Sydney Street. Although he does mention the stereotypical comments to be true by involving his side of the brothel, emptiness of the pawn shop, and smells on the street, he makes sure to include his non-judgmental view. This is done through the use of repetition, as all of the closing stanzas include, "You find this ugly, I find it lovely." Through the use of this line, Slessor communicates with the audience to not be judgmental towards these people. This is due to the fact that these people are living their everyday lives, as you would live your own. Slessor makes great use of alliteration in stanza 3, smells rich and rasping, smoke and fat, and fish and puffs of paraffin. This use of alliteration emphasizes the effect of language, this case being the sense of smell. This technique allows the reader to simulate the smell, further impacting the way you visualize the environment of William Street. Slessor's visual representations of motion caught at the scene of William Street proposes the idea of modernism. With what feelings Slessor feels, he would just put it on paper, not following this standard structure provided by the so-called proper literature. At the time of the Slessor era, not writing in this way was considered a rebellion against this standard structure of writing. To further express this visual representation, Slessor includes some visual imagery in the poem: the red globe of light, the liquor green, the pulsing arrows, and the running fire. I like this line a lot, probably one of my favorites in the poem, because it enables us as the reader to create a visual image of the inviting brothel. Okay, we now shift our focus and look at ourselves. How do we see ourselves in the world? Are we in control of what happens to us, or are we tied down by the forces that seem beyond us? Ideas on this subject have changed over time, but two texts with opposing perspectives on this question are Slessor's Gulliver and the painting by Caspar David Friedrich, Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog. Gulliver, the poem about a man trapped in his own body, does express the struggles of everyday emotions in our lives, particularly the dark experiences. These dark human experiences relate to us as a whole, as a collective experience. Slessor writes this as a dramatic monologue, experimenting with form popular amongst modern composers. Similar to Friedrich, who positions his subject with the back towards the viewer, the dramatic monologue, shown using the word I and the focus on the persona's subjective experience, is a way for Slessor to put the reader into perspective of the narrator, making the feelings of the pain and visceral imagery of "I'll kick your walls to bits, I'll die scratching a tunnel, more immediate. The many prisons of human experiences are highlighted explicitly through the use of accumulation in love, hunger, drunkenness, neuralgia, depth, cold weather, hot weather, sleep, and age. The heavy use of punctuation provides that pause for us to reflect on our impact over a person's lifetime. On the contrary, however, Friedrich's artwork resembles the poise of a confident man as he leans on his cane and relaxed hand rests in his pocket. Alright, so unfortunately, it is time to end the podcast. To summarize the discussion, we have talked about two of Slisser's texts mentioning modernism at that time period. We have also related these texts with The Wanderer Above the Sea Fog and Fog Painting by Caspar David Friedrich, which was actually created in 1818, more than 100 years before these poems were written. We analysed these poems and evaluated their impact on us. Thanks guys so much for tuning in, and have a great day or night wherever you are. See ya.